Welcome to the Family First Retirement Podcast with George Politarhos. For more information, visit betrayowealth.com. Now, let's get to the show.
My name is Mark Owens. Kill the unicorn and find your Debbie. We'll get to that here in just a couple of minutes. But, George, it's been about a week. The dust has settled, and I don't really want to talk about what's happening moving forward. I want to go backwards a little bit. You are one of the biggest Eagles fans that I know. Now that you've had about a week to think about it, sit on it, review it, look at the box score again, what's your takeaway from the Eagles falling short from their goals?
Blah, blah, blah.
All right, then.
It's I'm upset they lost. It is what it is. Did it change my life at all, Mark? No. Mm-hmm. It's funny. We have Sunday dinner every night. And now that Jared's back in the Wilmington area, my baby, we're all together. Alex, Anna, Archer, Leslie, myself, Jared, we're all sitting there having fun at dinner talking. We have the game on. Mm-hmm. And Alex and I are watching the game, and we're yelling at the TV. I love to yell at the TV. Do you like to do that, Mark?
No.
Because they can hear me. I know they can hear me. Catch the damn ball. I know they can hear what I'm saying. Run that ball. And Archer, who is just over 2, is screaming at the TV when Alex and I are. He has his Eagle sweatshirt on. He's just like, bah-da-bah-da-bah. It was priceless. But I got to be honest. When Alex and Anna and Jared left and Archer, I kind of went to last like, okay, what do we want to watch now? I don't know what it is. My priorities have changed. 5 years ago, we would have sat there on the edge of my chair, grilled,
screamed.
Now I sit and I'm just grateful. The kids weren't there. We'd have it on maybe a little bit, have pretzels. I love pretzels. Have pretzels and watch the game and be like, okay, let's change the channel. Maybe I'm maturing. Maybe I'm changing. Maybe I'm getting. Right. I'm not maturing.
Let's be careful the verbiage we use on this show.
But it's different. I've kind of evolved.
Maybe it's a blessing overall that the Eagles aren't going to make it to the Super Bowl. Did you see that the prices have come out? We don't even know who's playing yet.
Good Lord.
We don't even know who's playing in the Super Bowl yet. $7,100.
You're out of your mind.
And that's before all the BS fees on top of it on the secondary market if you want to go to the Super Bowl out in San Francisco. And then you have to go to San Francisco, too. That's the worst part.
That's the worst part about that. But you know what? And if the Eagles were in the game, in the Super Bowl, we'd probably have folks over and watch the game.
Sure.
It's an event. Super Bowl is an event. It's not a game. It's an event. There's no better seat than our big screen TV with our really clean bathroom and the buffet we have set up. I know they say it's the atmosphere. I don't need that experience. I don't need to be crowded on. And if my team plays well, I'm happy. If my team plays poor, you're like, what the heck? I just wasted $10,000 plus had to come to this non-good city to watch it. And I had to watch a halftime show I probably don't want to see or can hear.
Yeah.
Why would I just don't get it.
And there's something about the in-game experience, too. There's always going to be a couple of drunk meatheads throwing hands at some point as well. And it's like, you know what? I'm too old for that crap. Like, if I'm paying $7,500 to be here, come on, act like adults. And again, I laughed when you said, and I'm right there with you, again, that M word, that maturity word, just the fact to have a clean bathroom. I'm like, oh, yeah.
It means so much.
Hell yeah.
I'm grumpier. I say as I'm getting older about things. These young yipper snappers. I like a little, civility.
Yes.
It's kind of important to me. I don't know why.
All right. Well, welcome to Boomer Talk here this weekend on Family First Retirement. All powered by the Betrayal.
All right, then.
All right, 302-330-2166. We know that we are not alone right now. There's somebody listening right now going, but you just mentioned like the young whippersnappers. However, let me flip this script for a second here, George, because every weekend we get calls from people curious about their tax strategy, always worried about income and retirement from adults. But we got a call last weekend, and I love it. A younger couple. She was in her 20s. He was in his early 30s. I love the fact that they called at a young age, and she just simply said, I need to get started. George, where do I start?
That's exactly right. This is a young couple, and they're from South Jersey. Mm-hmm. And she said, I heard the show, and I just needed to call. We have 401ks, we have a 457, 403B, but are we doing it the right way? Mark, I always put this analogy up when I talk to people that are young. And young being, 40, 45 and below, still 15, 20 years. when you build a house, the most important part of building a house is a solid foundation. The base has to be really strong because as long as your space is strong, your structure is going to be going forward very stable.
Right.
And that's exactly how I look at this. We're going to go over everything that they need to know about making sure we start planning for college for the children, making sure we have a sound foundation. What investment choices should you use within your 403B, within your 401k, to make sure you get a good foundation? Because they have a luxury, folks. If you're 60, 65 years old, and we're talking about a 30-year-old and 65-year-old, what's the difference?
Probably assets, probably money saved.
Money saved, assets. But the bigger thing, Mark, is time.
Oh, yeah.
Because you can afford to be more aggressive. You can afford to sit there and have everything on black at the casino, per se, and let it just keep rolling because you're going to outproduce over time because time's your friend. Those 60-year-olds, 65-year-olds, we don't have the same luxury. Mm-hmm. We are close to the end of the race when we are at the beginning.
Right.
When you give us a call at 302-330-2166, we'll talk about those risks that you can afford to take compared to what you cannot afford to take. You know, we're in a bull market, right, Mark? We see this market going up every day. It seems that we have a new high. Most bull markets last for about 7 to 9 years. We're at year 16 and going. Mm-hmm. It's unheard of.
Yeah.
The question we have to ask is, when does it stop? And these are things we'll talk about. How much can you sleep with at night knowing you have so much at risk? Mm-hmm. That 27, that 30-year-old that we just talked about, they don't care if the market corrects itself by 50%. They do. I don't mean they don't care.
Right. But it's not going to affect them.
It's not going to affect them. Yeah. Absolutely. Because they're going to be getting a deal because you're still contributing. You're buying in on those funds at a lower rate. So you're doing well. You have that luxury. Us old folks, yeah. And folks, I'm putting myself up there, obviously, we have to be a little more conservative.
Yeah.
A little more on course to be in the right place. When you've given me a call, 302-330-2166, let's talk about those risks. Let's see where you're vested. Let's see how much you have at risk. Can you afford as much risk as you have? And I always say, can you sleep at night to be where you are? 302-330-2166. Give us a call. We'll go over those with you and everything else you have to go with that because there's a lot to talk about when it comes to retirement planning.
And George, as we talk about this weekend, never too late to get started. I want to talk to that 60-year-old. Maybe they've made some financial mistakes in their past, but they're ready to get serious about their financial future.
You know, Mark, you say they may have made some mistakes in the past. Mm-hmm. Guess what, folks? Welcome to the world.
Yeah.
We're all human beings. Mm-hmm. The last perfect person died over 2,000 years ago for us. So do not beat yourself up. And we always talk about how it's not going to the principal's office when you sit and meet with me. I'm not going to smack your hand. I'm not going to punish you or make you feel like you did a bad job. We made mistakes. It is what it is. But we're getting serious about retirement. We're 60, 55, 60, 65. We really need to jump into this and understand the process of moving forward. Understanding you're working now, but where's that money going to come from in retirement? Is it coming from Social Security? Great. There's one avenue of income. Maybe you're one of the blessed few that have a pension, a federal employee, a teacher, a tradesman that still have those pensions, which most of us don't have. So we'll have that money coming in. But then we got to talk about your 401k, your 403b, your thrift savings plan. CDs you have are probably the money you squirreled away over the last 10, 15, 20 years. We need to know how we're going to fund our retirement. And I truly think that the importance is to make sure you're educated, informed, and enlightened about how retirement is going to work. How you're going to get there. Does it make sense? When you give us a call, 302-330-2166, we're going to go through those steps. We're going to explain how it looks. And I have to be honest with you, though. If it doesn't make sense or we have a problem, I am not going to sugarcoat it with you. Mm-hmm. Real simple. I don't believe in that, folks. I'd rather you leave and be mad or upset than leave thinking we're in a great place and why did George lie to me?
Right.
So I truly believe transparency is the most important thing, and we're going to go through that together. We're going to see the value of having risk because risk is a good thing, but proper proportions. A 60-year-old cannot have everything on the casino all in black. Just you can't do it for retirement. You need to diversify. You need some safe money choices, some guaranteed income choices, and you still need risk in retirement. Because if we don't continue to get bigger and stronger, we're going to fail. Call me at 302-330-2166 or go to our website, Patria Wealth, Patria Wealth.com. We can schedule that no-cost, no-obligation meeting.
Are you watching Landman with Billy Bob Thornton?
I watched season 1. I loved it.
Yeah.
I have not watched season 2 yet, only because this is stupid. But the two female characters...
Oh, the mom and daughter?
Drive me nuts. I just don't see a purpose. And it drove me out of my mind. And Les and I be watching. I'm like, what are they doing? They wanted something to do. So they went and they were volunteering at a senior center,
right?
A retirement center. And they're taking the people to a girly bar or something.
Yep.
Like, what are you doing? Tell me about the oil and the cartels and the drugs and, how we make. I get that. I don't get. And they're taking the bus. And they're driving the people. Here's the keys, Miss Johnson. They just lost me on that, Mark. I know that's terrible. I'm sorry. I got off.
It is so funny.
It's so.
We didn't have this discussion before the show got started. The whole reason I brought up Landman is because of a comment you just made about going to the casino. And an episode a couple of weeks ago, the mother and daughter took all the old folks to a casino. In that scene, she turns like $100 into $90,000. And
I wish I was with her.
And I'm watching that going, as somebody who enjoys going to a casino, I'm pulling what no hair I have out going, it doesn't work like that. Stop giving people false hope at the roulette table. So
bring the mortgage payment, John.
Oh my gosh! But I told Landman is great. Billy Bob is great. Demi Moore is great. But yes, the mother and the daughter. Wow, don't get me wrong, fun to look at, but they are exhausting.
They're exhausting. That's a great word.
Yeah. They're giving you this misconception about here's how it's going to work in a casino. You heard us say at the beginning of the show, we're going to help you kill the unicorn, which is basically we're going to help you recognize those misconceptions in retirement. So,
absolutely,
George, as we're now into 2026, what is one of the biggest misconceptions that you worry that the families you serve are going to fall prey to?
I just think that so many people don't understand the process, Mark. They think retirement just happens, occurs. It's magical, like a unicorn. You've heard all this misinformation over the last 20, 30 years. The magical number you need for retirement, what is it? $1 million and it's saved. $5 million, $10 million. It's all different. Mm-hmm. And there's so much misinformation because if it's on the internet, it must be true. 100%. We all know that.
Always is.
When we talk about that misinformation, and I always say it's the gray about retirement, not knowing the fog. My job is to make it very black and white for you.
Right.
Because, Mark, we always talk about the difference in people. We are not the same people. What's right for John is not right for Sue, and what's right for, everyone's different. When we sit down, do the Family First Retirement Plan, we get together and make the numbers make sense for you. What's your unicorn number? What is your retirement number? How's it going to work? Do I have to pay taxes? I feel people are so confused about the tax bill. One big, beautiful bill has some real positive things to it, has some things that maybe are not so good. But we don't understand how it works. People think that everyone's going to get $6,000 next year as a tax write-off. It's not going to be for everybody, folks. Let's call a spade a spade. Mm-hmm. There's some qualifications that we need to have there to get that. Don't plan on it, is what I'm saying. When we sit down, we do a plan with you. We're going to go over income. We're going to go over Social Security. We're going to go over expenses. How much are we spending compared to what we have coming in? We're going to talk about long-term care. I think that's something that is vitally important that we need to start addressing. And most financial advisors, Mark, are not doing it.
Yeah.
They're doing a misjustice in this case. And we're going to have that conversation about taxes. We're going to put a tax strategy together to understand how to keep more of your money in your pocket. Because I'm a firm believer in, I love our country. It's the greatest place on the earth. I don't really like the way the government spends my money.
Amen.
It's my job to keep my money in my pocket because I can do a heck of a lot better than they can. And that's what having the Family First Retirement Plan together. Mark and I were together last week in Atlanta, Georgia. We had a great meeting. met some fantastic advisors from out the country that we're friends with. But one of the speakers talked about the 8 steps that you have in retirement and working with your clients. And it really works with our clients, the 8 steps to retirement when we go through it. You know, people say, what's an average meeting like, Mark, when they meet with you? Well, real simple, folks. The first time we meet, we're going to interview each other. Mm-hmm. Because you may not like me. I find that very hard to believe. But you may not like me. Or I may not be a good fit for you. The second step is we're going to start gathering data. I'm going to start looking at what you have saved. Where's your expenses? What's your area of concern? Most people's area of concern, number one, is running out of money. I'm living too long. Maybe not having health insurance. Or what's the right health insurance to have? What happens when I die and my wife's left behind? How's she going to be able to manage long-term care, medical expenses? Then we're going to sit together and put a plan to answer those concerns and what you have to maximize what you have to fit your need. Next step is, if that makes sense to you, if what we talked about makes sense, great. We'll start the implementation of the products and how it's going to work for you. It doesn't happen overnight. And then obviously the step following through, making sure taxes are in line, making sure your long-term care is in line, and having that holistic view. I think one of the things that make me so proud of my firm and my practice, Mark, is that we are not a transactional agency. We're not a transactional office. I'm a boutique office. Mm-hmm. I'm a small niche office that can do all the things those big box firms can do, except one major difference. You're not a number to me. You're part of our family. You come in, we know who you are. I'm not passing you off to a junior agent. You're staying with me, in my family, in my office. You're meeting with Jared, my office manager, and my baby boy, who is my boss. You're going to meet with Achilles Vargiamis and make sure you understand the risk factor of what we're doing. You're going to meet with Ernie Callias, and we're going to do that tax strategy together to make sure it makes sense. Yep. You'll have Angie here to go over Medicare with you to make sure the Medicare falls in line and that you understand, because it's really confusing. But that's what having a concise plan works with. And then we're going to put everything together so when the time comes and one of you are sent home, we lose somebody, we pass away, the partner, either your husband, your wife, your domestic partner, whatever the term is, isn't lost. He or she knows what our income plan is, knows where the money's coming from, where the tax strategy is, and how to keep moving forward. Because that's really what this is about. Not sitting there saying, let's just roll the dice and be happy what happens, but having that plan so we get to live the next 30, 40 years and not worry about how we're going to eat tomorrow.
That's right.
When you call me at 302-330-2166, we're going to talk about that. We're going to find out what your why is about retirement, Mark and I teased about earlier, what your Debbie is in retirement. Debbie is the term I use because my wife Leslie just retired last year. And I'll be honest with you, folks, we talk about retirement all the time, and she was a little bit off sorts for the first month. The muscle memory, you get up, you get dressed, you go to work, you come home. That repetition, she had a little hitch in her giddy up. Mm-hmm. She went back to what she loves doing. And she goes and rides her horse, Debbie. And to see the happiness in her, how much she feels like a little kid again, how much enjoyment she gets. That's what we're talking about. Your why. Why do you want to retire? What are we going to do in retirement? Are we going to be able to have a great retirement? That's what my job is here at Betrayal Wealth. 302-330-2166. Let's go through it together and get you where you want to be. You know, Mark, we talk about retiring in your own time.
Yep.
When you want to retire, not when someone tells you you're going to retire. Mm-hmm. It's a terrible, scary situation to go to work and you're working hard. And one day they come in and say, listen, we're going to close this office up because it doesn't, we're not making enough money, or it's too little, or this or that, or your job's no longer needed, or you're making too much money. You need to be able to make that decision for yourself. Yep. We fly on the plane, the pilot flies the plane. I'll be honest with you, I'm nervous when the pilot's flying the plane. But when I drive a car, I always drive because I know what I can do. I handle it. I have control over the matter. I don't want one of those cars that drive themselves. I'm not getting in that car. You want control of your retirement. You want to be in command of what you're doing. 302-330-2166 or go to Portria Wealth, P-A-T-R-I-A Wealth.com. And let's make sure we understand how that's going to work for you.
Insurance and annuities offered through George A. Politarhos, Delaware Insurance License Number 1373121. Annuity guarantees rely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing insurance company. Read your contract for restrictions, limitations, or penalties.